Hello, I am Umbrenero and welcome back to Umbrenero's Life. Today's video is my October 2024 plan with me. So for 2024, like I've been doing all year, I've been doing video game based themes. And for October, I decided to go to a classic horror game that I have played many times. Well, the original was many times, but Resident Evil. So, October is going to be a very minimal layout for me because I've had stuff going on that just needs to get taken care of. So, I wanted to have my journal be very functional for what I need for October. So, I started by doing a very basic design, which is a lot of distress ink as the background. And the main colors in the game are grays and red, obviously. And that's just what I did. So, once I had the background done, I decided to go in and draw all my lines. And I didn't feel like using a ruler, so things are not perfect, but they don't need to be. After I had the lines for my calendar drawn, I quickly put in my little elements for my key. And because a lot of this is different shades of gray and a couple different reds, it doesn't look that colorful, but there's enough difference between each of the grays that it works for me. Along the side, put in October for the month, and then I used the lightest gray I had to write the numbers in my calendar. It shows up a lot better off camera, so it works for me. Next is my goals and things. Normally I do monthly log next, but for some reason I did not do this in the order I usually do. I did a completely different thing, and we'll see how it goes. So, as you can see, I went and did the background first because that seemed to be the best thing for me. Because I had went in advance with sticky notes to cover up the areas I didn't want covered in distress ink, it made this go a lot faster, but even doing this took quite a bit of time. So I decided to do the headers for each of the sections for my goals and things page on the side because I did want something a little different, but not overly different. And of course, things weren't perfectly written, but that's fine. And then I repeated the process for my things. So now we're on to my monthly log. It's not on the page right after my calendar. It's on the next full page because I wanted it to be easy to see looking at the calendar and actually filling in my monthly log to be able to fill it in easily. So I finished putting the border around this page. It's a very, very simple layout. And like I was saying before, this month is pretty minimal for the decoration. I think the most of it comes when I did my reflection page, but you'll see that in a bit. So once I had the gray done there, took off all of the sticky notes and drew in my lines. Quick labeling of my header, and that's about it for my monthly log. It's nothing too fancy. Had to do a couple little quick erasings of some pencil lines, but that's about it. Next, we're jumping into my weekly log. So I omitted my habit tracker, my content plan. I omitted a lot of stuff for October because I want to try to get things somewhat on track again, and you gotta weed out things here and there to see if that's what's making things too hard, and it's kind of what I'm doing, but I have another way I track my content related stuff. Like, I'll still put in my little daily sections on my weekly layouts here when videos should be live or when I'm gonna be working on videos, so that way I have a plan. But for the decoration on the first page here, I wanted to do a foggy gray area, so I just simply did that. I had an extra little quadrant that wasn't being used on one page, so figured I might as well use it somehow. Once I had that done, I went and started outlining each of my daily boxes. At some point while I was doing all of my weekly layout here, I ended up making a mistake where a couple boxes are smaller than they were supposed to be and a couple were a lot bigger. Mistakes happen, and I'm just going with the flow, making it work because I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect, and you know, it just makes this unique. So the larger box that's on this page is basically a little section where I hope to like jot down things that I need to remember to take care of, or things that pop into my head that just need to get done, that I don't want to put on as a monthly thing. Like, I could be doing some research about something and I'm throwing some notes right there as a, hey, this is something I thought about, here's what I found, kind of thing. So then I took that light gray I had, drew lines to break up the box a little bit so that way it's not all single shade of white. And then I repeated this process for the rest of the weeks. And you might go, well, what about the extra quadrant on this one? So on this one, I did it like that larger box. So that way I have like an extra little notes area. And with knowing how I am, I felt I didn't need this each week. So on the second week here, I added it. But then on the third week, I decided to go back to having that gray box. And this is where I realized I made my mistake because I had the one sticky note way too high, and yeah, things happen. So I was starting to draw out my boxes here, and I'm like, wait a second, something seems off on this next page. So I start drawing, and I'm like, wait, I bumped this up one. This doesn't look right. And things happen. So this threw me off on the next page. I'm making it work, so that's the important thing. So again, the same process. Like here you can really see where I noticed the mistake, because some of those lines are way too long and just don't add up correctly. But hey, I figured it out somehow. Grabbed the white out, hurry up, made the boxes. Realized right here, oh, too big, but it'll work. And then for the last week, I was trying to use a ruler to make sure I had them all marked correctly, and I wanted to give up. But the same process that I've been doing for the final week of October here. So very minimal, very basic setups. And then for my reflection. So this is the area that probably had the most detail done. And if you watched my 8 monthly themes to try in October, you'll recognize the symbol. I did the umbrella from the Umbrella Corporation from the games, from the early games especially, as a little pop of color finally at the end, because I didn't want to use more distressing because I've used it so much throughout the rest of the spread that I'm like, nope, I'm just going to do this. So I sketched it in, and surprisingly for my reflection, this is what took the longest. The coloring in was probably the easiest part of it because I didn't have to worry as much. Then it was outlining in black for it, just so that way it got its shape of an umbrella. A weird shaped umbrella, but close enough to an umbrella. And this is the one time for this month where a ruler was actually very helpful getting the straight lines for this, because I didn't really want to accidentally screw those up and all of that. So then was drawing the box for my reflection section, and instead of putting in the usual of next month, the good, the bad, I just did a general box with reflection written in it and realized I was running out of space at the end. But it happens. Did a quick erase of all of the pencil marks. They don't show here, but there were a lot of them. And this is the overall look of how it came out. I like how it's set up. It's very simple, very minimal, and for me, that is something I usually don't go towards, but I'll try anything. So, thank you for watching, and until next time, I am Umbrenero. Bye!